Hannah and Sky here, and this is day 25 of documenting our NICU journey. All right, so today we'll start off with a baby Sky update. Apparently he's been having a higher number of DSATs once they tried lowering the PEEP on his oxygen, so basically the amount of oxygen that's going in his body. When they decreased it, he didn't have bad episodes, so there's no Brady's, which are his heart rate dropping, but he did have, I guess, 12 DSATs yesterday. Even though they're not that bad, they wanted him, to be comfortable, and they just moved his settings up. Once he gets comfortable again, then they'll try bringing him back down, but he's still 5 pounds and 4 ounces. Nothing's really changed size-wise. Hannah held him like all day today, so what was he? Was he like sleepy, or was he more awake?
He pretty much slept all day with me. Right before we left, though, he woke up and was so playful.
Yeah, he was playful, but he was kind of fussy today. Like when, not fussy, but like when you hold him, he was just like moving around.
Yeah, that's normal.
That's normal, but...
That's reflex.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. When he starts to like arch his back and like pushes his neck, he's like reflexing.
So, the more you know. And oh, Hannah, yesterday, she burped him. No, 2 days ago.
I started burping him after his feedings when I hold him, just because it kind of gets him used to it and it helps him out a little bit. Usually the nurses will unhook his feeding tube when he's done with his feed and vent it out, so they're connected to like a syringe that's open, and it lets him push up the feed that he's reflexing, and it's kind of like a continuous burp is what they say to us and like explain it to us. So but they haven't really been doing it lately. I think it just depends on the nurse. So if I don't see them vent him, I'll just kind of help him out, give him a little burp.
He had a little burp. He had a little burp at least 2 days ago. Hannah, did you hear it?
Yeah.
She heard it. I didn't hear it because I was over at my desk. I think I might have been working or doing something. Whoa.
I don't know what I said.
That was like a big bump that wasn't even there. Ghost bump. Ooh. Because of his reflex, I guess, they moved his feeds up to about 2 hours instead of an hour and 30 minutes. So he just gets the same amount of food, but over a longer period of time. Other than that, he probably spent more time in Hannah's lab, way more time in Hannah's lab than he did in his crib today. So the question we probably get asked the most is, when will he be out? We kind of addressed it in our TikTok live today, but so we've gotten kind of mixed signals from a few of the people that we've asked. Some say November, some say Christmas time, but they're just estimates, and it all depends on him. So, we're not impatient to get out. We want to make sure he's ready to, not be connected to all of he might get out of there with oxygen. But as long as he's, stable, we're not gonna rush anything. So,
if you're answering questions, they have two that I screenshotted from YouTube that people ask.
Okay. So we're gonna put up a couple questions that we've gotten on our past videos up on the screen right now. This is gonna be the first question. How are you doing in regards to work? How do you balance your finances facing these times while little Sky is in the NICU? I'm wondering. So that might be somebody who, maybe they're going through it, or, they know they're gonna have their baby early. Honestly, everybody wishes that they could be perfect with their finances, but when you're hit with like a life-altering situation like this, where we're living in an Airbnb that doesn't have a kitchen, we're probably ordering out more than we'd like to, but sometimes with all the, with the stress and the unsure, the unsure nature of everything, sometimes just clicking a few buttons on a phone is just much easier.
Not only that, but we weren't really prepared for insurance, so we didn't do any necessary steps that you can do when you expect like a long hospital stay or big medical finances. So we got hit with some pretty big costs, but we were blessed with the GoFundMe. So the GoFundMe pretty much covered a lot of it. So I can't say it enough. We were really blessed.
And not only the GoFundMe, but the Superhero Project helped us out with our stay. They paid for 2.5 months in the Airbnb, which is just more than you can ever ask for. It's no small gift. But another thing is, don't be afraid to accept help from others. We never really had a problem with that. We had friends and family who were just like, we probably have 3 people who cooked for us multiple times. Even when they do that, even just being in the Airbnb, it's hard to store all the food, and food just goes so fast. You got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They can only cook so much. So there's always times when it's late at night. You don't want to go in Publix because you are worried about maybe contracting something, bringing it back to your baby. So we've kind of kept those few and far between.
And then in regards to work,
in regards to work, even before baby Sky came, I was working from home. I work at Patrick Air Force Base, which is a military base, and we were given work from home orders. So all I had to do was kind of move my setup. I got permission from both of my bosses, and I was able to move, you know, at first to the hotel, then to the Airbnb, and kind of set up there, and be able to do all my work obligations, and, you know, be able to spend time with the baby. So I've been very lucky in that regard. So Hannah was working at a medical center, and she would have been frontline for, you know, anybody who came in with COVID. So we thought it wasn't worth the risk, her being high risk, super high risk, being pregnant.
Know I was super high risk, but I'm really glad I did take those steps and quit in the beginning.
I thought once you're pregnant, you're automatically high risk.
Once you're pregnant, you're high risk, but I was considered like high risk looking back now.
Oh yeah.
As a preterm baby.
Yeah. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. So we're also in the process of applying for SSI and Medicare or Medicaid, one of those. So if you are in a situation like ours, get with your social worker wherever they are in the hospital and tell them, like, you know, what your situation is, and they're going to point you in the right direction. We've had an amazing social worker at our hospital, so highly recommend, you know, seeking out all of your avenues, but utilize every tool that you possibly have, and don't, you know, if there's a time not to be lazy, it's to see, you know, what options are out there for you, because it's kind of easy to, you know, get caught up and, you know, your baby's in the NICU and, you know, you're worrying about where to stay, where to work and stuff. Cover all of your bases. Is that the saying? Cover all of your bases. And the second question, how did you two meet? So Hannah was playing in a league, a softball league in Titusville. She was on this team, actually with one of the guys I grew up playing baseball with. And then one of my friends ended up, his wife got pregnant, and so, actually no, they had the baby. And he couldn't go there anymore because he was taking care of his son, so they took me on, and I was just playing like kind of temporarily, and they wanted me to pitch. And so we went out there. It was like 38 degrees in Florida. It was like,
so cold.
It was 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was just a brutal night. And honestly, I thought they were going to cancel, because normally when the weather is that bad, they cancel it, but they didn't. So we went up, and I actually played against Hannah's team, and it was the first week I was playing with this team. And I texted my buddy after. I was like, hey, you know, who's the right fielder? You know, what's her situation? And then literally 15 minutes after that, I guess, they had a separate group chat for the team, and Hannah added me on Instagram. And then I was like, whoa, that was quick.
Hey, no.
And which was, looking back on it, is like totally out of Hannah's element.
It really was.
She's just as shy and awkward as I am.
It was God's plan.
Yes. So that was how we met, and then 2 years later, we have a little baby in the NICU. Sorry for the shaky baby, we're just doing this on the way home. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share. Everything like that helps us. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit the notification bell, because it lets you know when we post or when we go live. We might start going live more, so if you want to be a part of those lives where we get to see the baby in real time, please do. It was day 25. You're awesome. Peace out from Hannah. Say cut.
Okay.
You gotta do the motion.